Heyo, welcome in. Six Man Up, SIP, SIN. Yes, you can find it on the Sports Insanity Network's YouTube channel as well as SIP's podcast feed. Mark Goldowski Halpern, Danny Boy Reginald with you, always with you on Tuesday to talk Knicks basketball and, of course, the rest of NBA news. How's it going, Mark?
Oh, things are going good. Knicks have had a miraculous season as we so far have been watching. Currently sitting in second place in the Atlantic East against again behind that one game behind Boston. Don't worry, it's one game, not 10. And sitting third in the conference overall. So making it into the second half part of the season, this is a nice place to be. But I don't want the Knicks to feel comfortable, Dan. Comfortable is such a word when it comes to sports. You
Yeah.
hate throwing around.
Yeah, I mean, and of course we experience this all the time with New York. Um, it's always good to have some adversity because it makes you tougher. And the Knicks certainly had adversity with one of these last three games that obviously is rubbing us really harsh in the core. But like I said, we need the adversity. We need to have that moment of things being tough so that we can swim and thrive later on in the season.
Nicely put. So the Knicks, as we explained last week, and we picked up two very big, important
Mhm.
parts. Nothing bigger than Jose Villardo, who has been nothing but what he has been all season before being traded is consistent and provides a little bit of everything when he's on the floor. The Knicks took on the Detroit Pistons, who have been a thorn in the Knicks side all season. The Knicks have had a very rough time in trying to beat them. And top team in the Atlantic Conference, it should be a challenge. But Knicks have to find a way to penetrate this team. Nick's usual highs from the usual suspects, Brunson with 33 and Towns with 21. But I think the biggest problem then in this game became the lack of points from everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, putting Brunson and Towns aside, Shamet was the only one who really did anything meaningless.
Mm. Yeah, it's that. Obviously, a much better game out of Cat. Cat's not really having a great year. Scoring wise, he's been great on on the rebounding side, maybe parts of the defensive side, but not a great year scoring wise. And it's tough when we need a true solid like number two, which is increasingly becoming OG Anunoby, who had an off night as well. But the Knicks have a massive, massive Detroit problem. I have to officially say that this is the third game this year, and of course, the final game in the regular season that we're going to face the Pistons, where the Knicks got outclassed, outscored, and just I hate to put it this way because there's a lot of murders in this country, but brutally murdered by the Pistons. And Kate Cunningham is leading the charge all the way through. He has cooked the Knicks, owned the Knicks. He's ate them for lunch like sloppy Joes. And, you know, I, I'm sorry, like he has been the best player on the floor in these three games. And it's not even close. And it hurts me to say that because for a while, against teams like the Pistons, it was Jalen Brunson who was the best player on the floor. And we
Right.
can't say that now.
Now, Kate Cunningham putting up 42 points against the Knicks is, not something that is unexpected as he's had an amazing season, averaging over 24 points a game. But he was productive on every point here, not just from points. 8 rebounds, 13 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal. Now, I don't care what anyone says. That's NBA elite.
Yeah.
And it's not doing it against a POS team. It's doing it against one of the top teams in the NBA right now. Yeah. And that was just one guy. Nobody else on the Pistons took it over 20, but Paul Reed at 18. But there were everyone from the bench and everyone who was in had 9 points or better. And
And
that's a problem.
that's the thing. You know, even though only Kate Cunningham scored more than 20, obviously you mentioned it with 42 points total. The fact of the matter is they still had big minutes, with the rebounding and the defense. Like, and look, again, I say defense. You know, you have to understand the NBA is more of an offensive league nowadays. You got to score 100 points to win, right?
Mhm.
So, it was just a very troubling night. Don't let this final score fool you. It was a troubling night from the Knicks. Like, I mean, it, rough. It was rough to watch once again how this basketball team against the Pistons just continue to be absolutely absent.
Mhm.
Like
You know,
it's crazy how they go MIA against this Pistons team. And
uh, d-
again, not I'm concerned because the Pistons, they know how it felt last year when they lost in the playoffs, and they are still feeling it because they're taking it out on them right now.
as Dan pointed out, off nights by OG Anunoby, 3 of 13 from the field, 1 of 8 from 3-point range. But one positive stat is he did have 4 blocks in the game, and that's something that the Knicks need more of, is they need to be contesting shots more. And Anunoby is known very well for his defensive skills. And Mikal Bridges, again, just not performing in his 25 minutes, only eight
I know.
points. Uh, you know, I want to give him more credit because there's times
Uh,
throughout the season he has flashed really superb play. I just wish he would be consistent on those factors.
I don't know, Mark. I mean, I'm trying my hardest to really support Bridges, kind of give him the benefit of doubt. It's been a year and a half. Like, it's out the window. And, look, like I said, we give him credit where credit was due. Whenever he admitted his mistakes, that's where we put a spotlight on him. But he's just too inconsistent. And as well as Cat, don't forget about
Hmm.
Karl-Anthony Towns. He has not performed well either. Mikal Bridges, man, like my guy, like can you put up some more fight? We're not asking you to score 25 points a night. Like, even if it's 15, but you're contributing with the rebounding or, dishing it out to a player. You do something. 8 points and doing virtually nothing to help your team on the other end of the floor. It's not helping us.
What
Um,
I want to see is the Mikal Bridges, who was being talked about being traded to Portland and being done all this. We
mhm.
saw the play that came out of him that convinced everybody, oh no, we're not trading him. That's what we need back.
Yeah. Or even the playoff Bridges. Again, he didn't score a ton, but made impact on the other end of the floor. Especially in that series against Boston. Like something out of him that could help with this team. Because again, we know OG Anunoby when he's having a good night. And again, I know he hasn't been necessarily great all season scoring, but he's done a pretty nice job, given a lot of things going on, his injuries and all that stuff. Um, but we can rely on OG to be the strong two now that we know that Cat's not really a two,
Right.
and of course, it's funny because we were talking about how it was very obvious Cat was going to be the two. OG Anunoby has been the strong second this entire season. So yeah, it was rough to watch them not show up in this game. It really
Yeah.
was.
It was a tough loss. And as Dan pointed out, this is it. Next time we're going to be seeing them is going to really be the playoffs.
Yeah.
And expect it to happen because this Detroit Piston team is not something to sleep on. They're a good, good
Mhm.
basketball team.
Yep. And they have a tremendous tremendous coaching staff that's is
Yes.
really taking it. It's a younger team. They're ready to go off, and I don't know what this team's gonna look like in the playoffs, but man, they are really stepping up this year to a whole other level.
So the Knicks then moved on to another team they're very familiar with, and that would be the Houston Rockets, who are pretty close to the same in the Knicks standings, only 2 games behind.
Yeah.
And this was a game that, if you want to call a heart jerker, and had you jumping up on the floor, yelling at the TV, this was it. The start of this game started off pretty much, balanced, 7 points difference in the first quarter, 7 points game back in the second quarter. But then everything fell apart in the third and then came back in the fourth. And we're going to get into this quickly on our box scores. Our usual suspects up there as Cat and Brunson with 25 and 20, but OG up there with 20 this time. Mikal Bridges, again, 11 points, but did it more with the, like Dan was asking for, contribute in other ways. He did with 6 rebounds and 5 assists. Josh Hart was not feeling it with the ball, was not hitting anything, but again, contributed 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal. This is what we're talking about. Obviously Landry Shamet, Jose Velardo also have big numbers off the bench. But Dan, as I said, the first half ended up being pretty even. The third quarter came and it was like, what the hell is going on here? Houston came out strong. Houston came out fast. It was like a new team on the court.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, it's totally. I mean, it's funny because the Knicks had a double-digit point lead in the first half. The Rockets had 18-point lead going into the fourth quarter, like around that time. Knicks were in disarray. They're missing every shot imaginable. Uh, they can't, uh, they don't have an answer on anyone. Durant's having a great game. Jabari Smith can miss. Like, it was one of those halves where it really could have gotten worse, but it didn't. Knicks go on like a 14-2 run to start the fourth quarter, capped off by 8 consecutive shots missed by Houston, on top of 2 turnovers that really got the Knicks going and it gave the confidence back. Brunson, of course, leading the charge there as well, bringing the Knicks back. And then, of course, they ended up winning 33 points to Houston's 15 in the fourth quarter to get that victory. Very solid team win in the fourth. Obviously, I would have liked to have been much closer. These comebacks, they're hard to get. So the fact that there was a
especially as the
comeback there,
season goes on.
yeah,
Comebacks get harder and harder to get as the season goes on because no offense to any of these guys, whether they're seasoned veterans or your first out of the gate rookies, your body starts to wear and tear a little bit. And for the older guys, no offense, a little bit more than others. And if you're not putting up consistent route and consistent times, then you have to pull more time from players you want rested going into the playoffs because the playoffs isn't like the NFL one and done. It's 3 games in the first round, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, but it's 3 games against that same opponent. And if the Knicks have to face the Detroit Pistons in the first round, and it's like the season goes, we know what's going to end up in the
yeah,
first round, but that's not how it's going to be. Don't worry. We're not facing the Pistons.
yeah.
If it were to end today, we face the Miami Heat. So, I'd be more confident in that.
Yeah.
As we were talking last game, OG Anunoby could not find anything. He sure found it here going 8 of
Mhm.
16, 20 points in the game, 2 rebounds, an assist, 4 steals.
Yeah.
Anobi is quietly stepping into Towns' role.
Yeah.
And do you think, Dan, that could make Towns expendable at the end of the year?
I mean, if the Knicks are trying to pursue something bigger than Towns, yeah. Um, this team's very frustrating. They don't have as great as some players have been on this roster. Obviously, we know about Jalen Brunson and stuff, but like as talented on paper as this roster is, they keep getting punked by teams. They keep getting punked. They don't have that same attitude. Not with me with Tibbs. They had a kind of an attitude that we don't mess around, and we may not be the best team on paper, but we're gonna kick your ass no matter what. They don't have that. They're a little too soft. So yeah, I think he can be expendable, especially if you can get that tough nose, no nonsense guy. Like Jose Alvarado is a tough nose, no nonsense guy. Like he's the annoying a-hole that will kick you in the nuts, you know, like and just again being an annoyance to you. So we need more of that. But if you can get another one in that starting lineup, again, I don't know if that's going to be Giannis. It could be someone else. But like, yeah, like if it means getting rid of Karl Anthony Towns, who has been the exact opposite of what the Knicks need to really push things through, then I agree with you. I think he can be expendable. But again, depends on what they want to do.
Right. And obviously, we won't know that until the season ends and where the Knicks finish. Just a note from the Houston Rockets side, as Dan and I both mentioned Kevin Durant's name, 30 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Proves us old guys can still go out there and do it. And then obviously Dan hit on Jabari Smith with 21 points. Um, the Houston bench, though, was, I think, the biggest problem for them, being the fact that only Shepard really did anything, and that they relied a lot on the starting lineup, kind of Thibodeau like, with Amen Thompson at 40 points and most of the starters at over 35. Uh, we saw the Knicks not able to win games that way, and we'll have to see if maybe Houston figures that out. The Knicks then went on to face another old rival favorite. Now, old rival, I'm talking back in the 90s, where the Chicago Bulls and the New York Knicks would duke it out at every game. Well, the Knicks took on the Chicago Bulls, and anytime they beat them, gets a smile on my face. 105-99. As usual, the usual suspects for the Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns actually being the leader on this today,
Mhm.
28 points, 19
Yeah.
from Brunson. Excuse me, my voice is a little scratchy here. Anobi, 9 points, but 9 rebounds. If one thing Karl Anthony Towns has been doing that is consistent is he's averaging over double-double a game.
Exactly. Yeah.
With the way this game was going, the Knicks decided to give a little bit of rest to Mitchell Robinson, and I think that was the right move. But Dan,
Yeah.
this wasn't an all-around game, to talk about just one guy. Everybody really did a little bit of something here.
Yeah, good stuff from Cat. Again, we would like to see this every game, but it's just not possible with him. I don't know if it's a mindset thing. I don't know if it's a coaching issue. I don't know what it is, but it's a shame because when he does do well, the Knicks are clearly in great position. So I don't know what to say. Again, Brunson, he didn't have to do too much scoring wise, but he sure hell had a lot of assists, 9 of them.
Yep.
Um, and Anobi more defensive on the day. Again, we love that. There's no doubt about
Yeah.
it. Like, um, Yeah, and again, Knicks using their bench that didn't really contribute much, but again, they didn't have to because this was an easy victory for the Knicks. How about this for the Bulls? It's very good to see him actually playing because there's no one on Chicago, but Gershon Yabusele finally getting minutes,
Yeah.
much needed minutes after being on the bench for New York. Again, a bit just a side note, just very happy that he's actually going out there and playing rather than being a bench warmer for the
Yeah.
Knicks.
Yeah. The Knicks need to shore up and look at these last two games to try to figure out which is the right combinations and times because games don't get easier at this point. Games get harder. And the Knicks will be coming into a hard game on tonight, facing off against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't care if Donovan Mitchell is missing two toes and a finger, he'll still score 30 points somehow. He is just that dynamic, and when you shut him down, they have many more weapons to help contribute. Um, so that's going to be the game tonight. Just news going around the league that would be any important. Yeah, why don't we talk about it quickly? The Sacramento Kings, Dan, who are on a 16 horrible loss, finally ended on a road win. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's like to be the best of both news that we can hear about, except for Dylan Brooks is going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks for the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, I mean, I think uh, I don't want to call it luck. Nothing's lucky for the Kings. The Kings are just a disaster this year. Um, I don't want to call it luck, but they did run into a Memphis team that was banged up. Like
Yeah,
that, and look, when you're veterans like DeRozan and Westbrook, when they're the ones leading the charge, like it, yeah, you and on days like this, you should beat the Memphis Grizzlies. But at the same time, when healthy, the Memphis Grizzlies should beat you. So just beat lucky. Um, yeah, but yeah, 16 games, like in the NBA, losing 16 in a row is very, very hard to deal with in the locker room. I don't care if your locker room has absolutely nobody. No one wants to lose 16 in a row. So it's very good that they finally uh was able to find a way to win the game. Again, it was no easy task because both teams suck. In this game, both teams are terrible. But yeah, it must feel really good for Sacramento to finally get that victory.
yeah. So that is going to do it for today's episode of the Six Man Up here on the Sports Insanity Network. Be sure to check out the website at www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com for all the blogs and vlogs. Tune in to all our broadcasts. As Dan mentioned, SIP dropped yesterday, SIP being the flagship broadcast. Go listen because Dan and Bill did their WBC introductions. Come on, go listen to these guys talk in their native team language. It's fun.
Mhm.
It's there. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Dan, if they're looking for us on X, where we post most of our articles and stuff, where can they find us?
At S Insanity Real, as always on X, Facebook, and so many different places. Please continue to support the network when you can.
Yeah. As for the dugout of Millwood, we're taking a little bit of a break as we get through tax season, thank God, and as we shore up for next year and get ready for
Good.
National Treasured Football.
Thanks for reminding me about taxis because I haven't submitted
Yeah,
anything from my end
yeah,
either.
the dreaded old tax season, you know.
Uh,
Uh, just get it done with. Get it over with.
yeah.
For me, Mark Goldup, Sky Halpern, and Dan, Vice President Danny Boy Reginald, thank you for coming in, and we'll catch you on the flip